Hey, it's the 40-watt garage. Welcome to the channel, or welcome back. This is day 4 of my brake system teardown diagnosis repair on my Factory 5 Mark IV Roadster. I believe I've found the source of my problem, and I'm now going to go through the master cylinders for a real thorough cleaning, inspection, and then determine if I can get away with a rebuild kit or if I have to replace them. So stay tuned and we'll get into this part of it. I've got my 3 master cylinders here, front, rear, and clutch. And off camera, I did a little bit of preliminary cleaning to get the bulk of the gunk and crud and junk off of them. And so now I'm going to go through and really give each part a good thorough cleaning, get into all the little grooves or passages, blow them out with compressed air, just a very good cleaning. And then inspect the pistons and the bores for damage, corrosion, or pitting. That's going to determine repair or replacement. I'll be using standard off-the-shelf brake cleaner spray from the auto parts store, and then probably a handiest tool in the toolbox for something like this, an old toothbrush. It's plastic and nylon. It can't scratch anything or make a burr or a mark. And then to clean the exterior, I've got both a stainless steel and a brass little hand brush. And you just have to be careful around the bore or at where the reservoir attaches. The piston only can come out to where the snap ring groove is. So if you're careful with a metal type brush and using brass, if you clean that groove but don't invade the finished bore, you'll be fine, even if you make a small scratch or something. So again, toothbrush, brass brush, stainless brush. We're gonna give these a good scrub, and we will get back once everything's got a real good cleaning. Well, I've given everything as best of a cleaning as I can, several times, wiping things down, cleaning things out, using swabs, clean towels, everything else, washing it out again and again. And I've gotten these parts as cleaned up as I can, inside and out. And on inspection, there is no damage to the bores. They still have what you could call the factory shine on them. There is no scoring, no pitting or corrosion in the bores. So we're good there. The pistons look brand new. There are no marks on them whatsoever. They still have the factory machined finish. There isn't a nick or a scratch anywhere on them. So in my experience, these parts can go right back in with a new seal kit, and they would be considered reconditioned or good as new. What we've got here are the lip seals that are usually on the pistons, and I've cleaned these up really well. It won't show up on camera, I'm not even going to try, but there is evidence of wear and a little bit of abrasion on the sealing surface of these. They don't have the, call it the factory shine, that the area that doesn't touch the cylinder bore, it's worn, and the edges of the sealing lips are not crisp anymore. This is the clutch one. This one you may be able to detect, but you kind of see about halfway across where it goes from shiny to dull. So these are definitely due to be reconditioned. They would have only gotten worse and leaked more and caused more problems. I received 2 of the 3 rebuild kits for my master cylinders, so I'm going to get started on putting together what I can in preparation for getting stuff back on the car. This is the kit for the 3/4 bore master cylinder, which is my front. So we have a warning danger Will Robinson telling you what you should be aware of and minimum test procedures before you take it to the road. We've got the warranty disclaimer, and then a contents and rebuild instruction sheet with a diagram and sequence of parts. The parts included are a new dust boot, a new piston with seals, return springs, and retaining washer and snap ring for the assembly. Appears that the parts that they are going to have you reuse, it's the retaining clamp for the fill cap or reservoir cap, the O-ring for the fill cap, your push rod jam nut. All the other parts are to be replaced. Unwrap the piston, and it appears there's something kind of probably light oil to keep these springs from rusting in packaging, because it doesn't smell like brake fluid. So I'm gonna wash these parts off. With some brake cleaner. Then I've got a container of fresh, clean brake fluid here. This is gonna be messy, but you don't wanna use paper towel on your parts because the fibers could get in and get stuck under the seal, but just to keep it from soaking through. And pour some brake fluid into the bore. Roll it around a little. Give it a coating of fluid. And when you're assembling or rebuilding a master cylinder or a wheel cylinder, you only want to use brake fluid as a lubricant. Use the material that it's going to be submerged in. I'm going to give these piston seals a good coating, the piston a good coating. We'll slide the spring in. Now the trick is going to be getting the piston into the bore without damaging the lip of the seal. And I have found success in if you start it at a bit of an angle and then roll it in, it will go in. Now unfortunately we don't have that luxury on the second one. We're gonna have to push it in. Okay, there's the springs have seated in their pockets. So you need some sharper scissors. And I've got my retaining washer and snap ring. Get my push rod ready. And my snap ring pliers ready. Everything is all slippery. I'm going to try to gently get that piston in. Okay. Get my push rod in. And let's see if I can. Need 6 hands to do this. I think we're going to move over to the bench vise so I can clamp this cylinder housing in the bench and be a lot easier to work with. I've got the master cylinder clamped in the soft jaws, and now I can hang on to it while I gently snuggle that push rod into place. Maintain tension on it. Get the snap ring looped on it. And try to get the snap ring on the snap ring pliers. You know, maybe we do this kind of like this. We get things set up. Sorry about the fingers in the way. But now I can, well, that kind of worked there. I got the retaining washer kind of snagged in the groove for the snap ring. Now I can get the snap ring hopefully started far enough to get it into the groove, snapped into place, and seated. Push rod's trapped, snap ring is in place, and it looks like we're together. There we go. I've got my fill cap O-ring, just lubed it up with a little bit of brake fluid and smear some around in there and smear the inside of the fill cap with fluid. And now we will get that pressed back down into place. There we go. That one is reassembled. Let's do the rears. Okay, like before, I've got the O-ring for the fill cap. Put some fresh brake fluid on it, lubricated it. Take the fill cap, smear a little bit in there, get it on. All right. And get my retaining washer on the push rod ready. Snap ring on the push rod ready. And then as before, I've got my freshly cleaned de-package oil free piston. Give it a healthy coating of fluid. Get the return spring and gently, carefully snuggle it into the bore. And then try to get it in all the way. Okay, and see if I can. With the single return spring, this one's quite a bit easier than the other. one ear of the snap ring in the groove. And I got both in. Just pressing on it to make sure that it's fully encased or snapped into the groove, and it is. This one. This one's ready to go. Off camera, I took the assemblies, sprayed them down with brake clean to get whatever I smeared and spilled on the outsides of the surfaces or transferred with my fingers, got rid of that brake fluid. And then I'm gonna unroll the dust boots. I kind of ship them inside out. And that's simply a matter of sliding them down over the push rod and working them around into place on the cylinder until they snap into place. Spin the jam nuts back on each cylinder so they don't get lost. And now we're ready to start bench bleeding. Well, while I am waiting for my last rebuild kit to show up, I'm going to get started on cleaning up the spillage inside the car on the brake pedal assembly trays where the paint is all chewed off and there's gunk and crud in there. And I've got a spray bottle of water with a little bit of soap in it and a spray bottle with isopropyl alcohol and water solution. And from the research that I've done, you can cut brake fluid with soapy water and then also further cut and clean up with isopropyl alcohol. So I've laid a bunch of towels down in the foot box. I've wrapped the fuse box in a Ziploc bag, and I'm just gonna kind of hose stuff down, scrub that out as best I can, rags, paper towels, toothbrush, whatever. Get that crud out of there, get the brake fluid that's leaked, get it neutralized so it doesn't keep chewing on stuff, and we'll go from there. But I'm gonna guess this is gonna be a couple of hours of just a unpleasant, nasty little job. This is the end result of my cleanup job into the footbox area where the pedal bracket assembly is. You can see that that leaking fluid eventually chewed its way through most all of the paint or e-coat that was on the brake pedal mounting bracket assembly. And again, spray bottle with soapy water, and then just hosing it down, wiping it, scrubbing it, wiping it, hosing it down, repeat, rinse, repeat. And then when I had gotten it as cleaned as I thought I could, then I hosed it down with isopropyl alcohol and let that sit, and then wiped that up. So this is about as clean as I can get it I've inquired with several friends about the possibility of removing the pedal assembly from an assembled car, and they confirmed that it's probably doable, but it's not going to be easy because your access is so limited, and you have your steering column and some frame tube members in the way. It's not a fun job, but it's probably doable. So I think I'm going to satisfy myself with a thorough cleanup and neutralizing job and let it go with this.